The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. It's a late night edition. We're recording this. I can't do it. Can you do it? That's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, you go in the back.
I don't know. I can't do the back of the throat one. Noah's good at the back of. Do it again, Noah. Oh, that's so natural.
Me too.
How do you do it in the back of your throat?
You have to be a Russian Jew.
Yeah, this is what people tuned in for. Welcome to the show. It's late night.
Pretend you're cum guzzling.
It's 6:36 on the West Coast, and it's like 9:36 where Noah and Anya are. Anya just grabbed her boobs. What's going on there?
Oh, I did? It was
I think
totally
you did.
unconscious. They
Really?
have been growing and not going down. I've had 2 periods this month in the last 17 days. Holler at me, ladies in perimenopause. What the fuck is going on with my body? I will reiterate. Day 1 of my period. Normally I'm a 7-day girl.
7 day
Oh my
period?
God.
No, but guys, like a panty liner. I never use a tamp. Haven't used a tamp in years. Very light.
Oh, for 7 days the whole time
Yeah.
it's a panty liner.
Exactly. Just one.
For years or for the whole
Wouldn't
time?
it be
Just
funny?
one.
I just like to recycle. No, like a few a day, but very light. And then it goes
But for
away.
7 days, that's a lot. That's long.
It's usually like 6, but I'm
That's
talking like
25% of your life.
Whoa.
Well, that's
I'm
your-
talking like a 1996 Bobbi Brown matte lipstick. It's like that brownish thing.
Okay,
Not
okay.
blood red. So
right. No one
it'll
has
be-
blood red, I don't think.
Do you never bleed?
When I was on
It's always
birth
kind
control,
of like a different color.
when I was on birth control,
Really?
I had the brown, but off of birth control.
Yeah. I got
Interesting.
I have a scarlet red droplet sometimes just hit the bathroom floor.
So it's been going on for 2 weeks, you said?
It was like very light for 6 days. And then I had sex on like day 8 or 9. And Matt was like, whoop, we got a little situation here. And I was like, are you sure that's from the front? And he's like, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. And I was like, oh no, that can't possibly be my period. And it was. And then it started again.
Wait, so when he has something on his penis that might be your period blood, he does tell you about it? Because I don't think my partner does. He just assumes I know.
It was
and he
like
just
on-
goes in there to clean up on himself. He's not like reporting back to me what he's finding on his.
He probably he knows who he's dating. I had just done the sheets and we have white sheets. So I think he was just warning me like, you have a handprint on your sheets.
Right. Okay. Crime scene.
Yeah, a little bit. It was like
Yeah.
a very light crime scene. And then I thought it was weird and then I just let it go. And then like 2 days later, it just starts up again, like full on. And went for another 7 days. So
It's
Oh
like
my
when, so you feel
Yeah.
like it's perimenopause.
What does that mean?
It means
it's anyone over 40 is in it. That's what my naturopath told me. It's just when your periods start to get light. It just means before menopause, which happens
you're
in your
over
50s.
40.
Yes. That's the first time
Breaking
I
news.
ever said-
Dun, 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 dun,
Wait,
dun.
yeah. People will be
You
surprised.
tricked me.
you,
At some
you did
point,
it yourself.
I had to admit it because you're getting older, and I just keep staying. And you're very open
saying
about
my
it.
age. I don't know when I'll start lying about my age or concealing it, but this weekend I was saying a lot like I'm in my late 30s, and then I said at one point I was just like I'm in my latest 30, and it got such a big laugh, and it was
no
one of
one's
those
ever
laughs
said
where you're
that.
like I didn't even know that was going to be funny. You have
Yeah.
a lot of those.
Yeah, I just have no idea what I'm saying half the time.
Yeah, but someone will like burst out laughing, and you seem kind of perplexed, like why was that
Oh,
funny? And
for
then
sure.
that's when you know like to hold on to that one.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
good, even though I didn't intend for it to be
Then
funny.
it's really you,
yeah.
unfortunately.
That actually feels good when you're like, oh, I guess I'm just naturally funny, but in a way that my mom is. Like my mom is never doesn't seem to ever trying to be funny, but she is, and it makes me. I'm so jealous of that. But I guess I have a
You
little bit of that.
have that. You are.
No, every comedian
No.
on
trying.
planet Earth has a friend that's funnier than them.
Yes, and a mother.
Yeah, or somebody.
Even today, I was at this work thing, and someone goes, did you work on Barmageddon? And I was like, I did. And he was like, I just got a message from my friend. I just got a Slack from my friend on, I guess
Slack.
it's a thing called Slack.
Oh, yeah.
I just got a Slack from my friend that said, I worked with Nikki on Barmageddon. Let her know her mom is the coolest woman ever. It was just like, I was like, oh my God, I made an impression on someone at Barmageddon, but it was my mom. She's the coolest person ever. And,
You're like, I'm her wingman. Thanks a lot. It's like getting hit on. When your hot friend gets hit on at the bar and you're like, oh, I thought you were talking to me.
I don't even want to talk about how, like, even you mentioning that, it's like triggering for me in a way. I can't handle when I am with a group of friends. Generally, it's like when I'm with one girlfriend and someone else hits on her and not us both equally. Not because I'm like, I think I'm prettier than her and this makes me feel like I'm not as pretty. It's just rude.
Yeah.
To like, I just feel like I've really struggled with it. Like I can remember every single time in my life it's happened to me. Like, and it honestly, it's giving me anxiety right now, even thinking about it, because not only do they not want to fuck me, which is like hurtful, and they want to fuck my friend more, which is also hurtful, but they think it's to do something that overt where you're just hitting on, there's two single women sitting here and you're just hitting on one of them. It means it would be insane. You think it would be insane for me to even think that you would ever be attracted to me, because that's not even in, like, it means he didn't even think, like, she might be hurt by this because she's kind of fuckable too.
Didn't even consider it.
Exactly. And so it hurts doubly like that. And I'm sure people are going to investigate this and talk about it on Reddit, how I'm so insecure and everything like that. But I am, and I'll be the first to say it. It really bothers me.
A similar thing happened just now to me with you.
Really?
I was walking down. I was in the good side of it. I was walking down the sidewalk towards the hotel.
I saw it.
And you waved at me. And then there was another guy between us. He thought you waved at him.
I know.
And he was like, did you just wave at me? And then he waved back. And then I made sure not to do anything. So I didn't want him to know that you were waving at me. And I saw that.
I saw that you made that choice. And I was so proud of you because I wanted him to, because I would wave at him generally.
Would wave at
but
that
I didn't.
man.
I was already waving like when he came into the lane.
Yeah, there was no way to avoid it.
And I knew that once he saw you, he'd be like, oh God, she's probably waving at him. But because you didn't wave back, he can walk through life now thinking maybe she was waving at me. So it was a joint effort and you did a good job.
Yeah, now if you see him again, you're going to have to wave.
This part of the podcast.
No, he won't hear it.
I was just going to say that's my nightmare. In high school, I remember someone waving at me. I think it was a girl who I desperately wanted to be friends with. And I was like, oh, she's finally waving at me. And it was someone behind me, one of her clique. And I was just like,
has anyone wanted to fuck you or like fuck someone else and you were like hurt by that? Does that, I mean, maybe it's just
I was
me.
always the funny, quirky friend, never the one hit on.
It always happens to me when I'm with Nikki. So yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No. When?
Moon
Give me
Tower
even one
2018. How can I
example.
forget it?
Oh,
We're
I
walking
read
in the
that blog.
street and like a bunch of guys turning their heads looking at you, and I'm just like a piece of shit. Nothing.
It's because they recognize me because my face was on like the telephone poles there.
You're gorgeous.
It doesn't count if you're famous. No, it doesn't count if you're famous. And listen, I'm not an uggo. I know that there are people that would be interested in me, but it is really devastating. I don't know why it's so devastating when it happened, when it happens to me, but I will say that yes, that probably happened at Moon Tower, but I do think it's because they recognize me. And that is a problem. Like when I'm somewhere where I'm recognizable and I'm in an environment where people know I'm going to be there, so they know it's me. I do feel like, oh, no one around, like the girls around me aren't getting any attention. Like but I don't feel like it's actually earned like the way it is when I'm just two girls sitting at a restaurant and no one knows who they are. And these guys are just like, I'm sorry, I just have to tell you, you're so beautiful. Like that's, I don't think it's ever happened to me where someone's just been like, actually it happened the other day. Okay. Well, I'll say it. This guy, I was walking to meet Lizzie for lunch and this guy was like pulling out onto the street and I had just parked my car. But I think he's full of shit because I looked disgusting this day. Like I wasn't dressed up at all.
That doesn't matter.
Everyone has their
I was
type.
wearing a dirty bulk. No, and he goes, "Excuse me, ma'am." And I just turned around and his windows rolled down and he looks at his phone like he's gonna be like, "Can you tell me how to get to-" like he's looking at his phone like, I just want to tell you you're very beautiful." And I was just like, thank you. Like I was literally like, it never ever happens to me. Thank you so much. And he was not attractive. And he's a guy that probably does this to women 12 times a day.
That's quite a trick. He was looking at his phone like he was like trying to find directions.
Yes. And so I got a little closer to be like, what do you
'Cause
need?
there's nothing better than giving someone directions.
Oh yeah. And I had no idea how easy is it to give someone directions? I have a phone and you have a phone too.
Right.
Who's even asking for directions anymore?
How old was he, by the way?
40s, 50s. But like
Okay.
you could tell he was like a sleazy dude, not an attractive guy, but like this is his thing that he does. I mean, it was, but the fact that he wouldn't have done it unless he wanted to have sex with me. And that is complimentary in my book. As a woman in her latest 30, I take it as a compliment that someone wants to come in me
Absolutely.
and would like to do that.
What was your
I'll take it.
response?
I literally was like, thank you. That's so nice. Thanks. And then I like backed away slowly and then quickly and then ran into the Starbucks to get my third of the day.
I will say there's a converse thing that happens to you too. Like, just like you were saying, being famous, you feel like it's not earned. But then I feel like you also probably don't realize that there's a percentage of guys who don't hit on you and act like they don't know who you are because you are famous. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen multiple times, not just with hitting on you, but they sort of subtly neg you because you're famous. They want to connect with you. They want to bond with you. So they're like, they give you shit in a way. And it's actually like, to you, it's rude, but you don't realize like, because they just saw you perform and they're like kind of wowed by you or whatever. They're like, I know how to get with this girl. I'm going to fucking be really rude to her or, you know, like dirty or ignore her. And
I know that's
Yeah.
hitting on me. I'm not one to get offended by guys saying the wrong thing or like saying like tripping over themselves. I know that if a guy talks to me, he probably wants to like, if a bumbling dude they're kind of like, they
or have
probably
you ever
wanna
had
fuck
a girl neg you when you're like, I know you want to be my friend, but you're just negging me because.
Oh, the other day, this girl we are spending time with, a woman, she said, I want to come see your show. I love filth. And I was just like, oh, cool. Like, it's more than that. And I actually have a lot to say about the patriarchy if you look at the undertones of what, like, but I was just like,
To justify your comedic
Here's my
existence.
term paper.
most girls that like me, I have to say, they're like, but I take this as a compliment. They're women who are kind of like dirtier or like a little bit like rough around the edges or have dark thoughts. They're a little bit more masculine energy. And we were kind of exploring this the other day. My Instagram following and also this podcast. The podcast demo. You want to tell them what it is?
What?
People listening to the podcast, you fit into a demo.
All right, besties listening to the podcast right now, I want you to just pick a number in your head. How many percent of women listen to the podcast versus how many men listen to the podcast?
Yeah.
Based on the way it's broken down in the Instagram.
Yeah.
So just think of a number in your head.
So we have
How many
24,000 Instagram followers, which is a good sampling what our listenership is. And it is almost exactly correlated with my my Instagram following too, which
Fans of Nikki Glaser.
Yeah, I thought it would skew a little bit differently, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I want to ask Noah and Anya what they think.
I'm going to say 18,000 of the 24 are women.
So what's that percentage? What'd you do it that way?
Yeah, can you use a
Sorry.
percentage? What do you do?
More than
You're like
50,
writing
less
down.
than 60.
What are you writing?
I'm gonna.
Okay, I'm going to say 56%. Even though
That's not. Wait, 18,000 was way more percentage than.
Okay, 60%.
Are you actually?
How do you figure
calculating
this
it?
out mathematically? I think it's you do
Everyone's
18
on their phone right now.
times 24, right?
I would do
24 divided by
18,000
18?
divided by 24,000.
That's right. Okay.
Okay.
Or you could just do 18 divided.
That's 75%.
75% as women.
Okay, I
what
would
Anya
Okay,
say.
I'll say
originally
less.
thought.
I'll say less. I'll say 62% are women.
62% women.
Oh,
Which means that it's 86% men? JK.
Good one.
You got me.
She almost agreed to it. I'm gonna say it's the inverse of that. I think it's like maybe 60 to 65% men.
Oh, okay.
Less women than men.
Brian?
I don't remember.
I don't
Oh my God.
No, I'll look it up right now. It's
Whatever it is, it's surprising and,
It is
and not
surprising.
memorable. Apparently.
No. It is memorable, but I believe I just want to get it exactly right. Okay. Looking at professional
Yeah,
dashboard.
you gotta go to your total
Okay.
followers.
Analytics.
Total follow. Where is it?
Right there.
Total follow. How dare you touch my phone?
I'm sorry.
Isn't it weird when someone else looks at your phone and then they touch it and you're just like, easy. Okay, you could just point at it.
You've
No.
touched my phone.
I would never care.
Look at all those spots.
I want you to know I would never care if you
there are
touch my
some
phone.
people who have touched my phone recently.
Oh, I think it's moved.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It is 54% men, 45% women, which is very different from my own Instagram. I didn't mean to say that. I'm 70% men follow me on Instagram. And my boyfriend thinks it's because I'm a hot girl. And I'm like, but I'm not posting
Thirst traps.
not even maybe one or two. I have like legs out in some photos, but it's not like you can't come to any of the pictures. I mean, I challenge you.
Maybe they think your personality is attractive.
I think it's because I have a masculine sense of humor. And I think that when I encounter women and especially besties, they're always like kind of the girls that are like, you talk like me. You talk like there's like kind of like a secret code we have where it's like, I say weird shit too. I think these weird things too.
I also
I'm
feel
different,
they have
like
life
you.
experience.
Yes.
They've experienced something, and sometimes it's traumatic. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, I've been through it.
Yeah.
That type of person.
They're non-judgmental too.
Yeah,
in a
non-judgmental.
crazy way where it's like, I just feel like they accept me and they're just like, I'll be like, I like your skirt. And they're just like, I don't need to hear that. But they're not desperate.
Yes.
Like whenever I meet a bestie, I'm always like, you're so cute. And like compliment. I found that at meet and greets when I compliment girls' clothing, they're not as excited as I would be if I compliment. And I'm not just doing it to like make them like me. I really am not. I wouldn't say anything if I didn't actually like something. But generally, they're always just like, thanks. Like they just like pose for the photo and they're like, I'm like, your skirt is so cute. And they're just like,
Yeah, they're not freaking out so much.
yeah, I'd be like, oh my God, do you want it? I'll give it to you. Like, I'm always like, oh, I'll tell you the price I paid for it. And you can go to the website and I'll send it to you. And they're just like, didn't even mean it, bitch. But
I was walking
think,
around Kingston having dinner the other day with a couple of musicians, and I get up from a tiny little hole in the wall in my tiny little town, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, Anya, I'm a bestie. I was like, what? I was so not ready for that in this context. I've been recognized once in this town for my music, just from my name, but never as like from the podcast. So it was so cool. And she was tall. She was lovely. She was having dinner with her mom. She was educated. I could just tell. Don't ask me how. She used some big words. She was just lovely. And she just seemed, I don't know, down to earth and cool.
It seems like the
Sharp.
besties are
they're not needy.
are good people.
That's what
really
I get.
important because there are some podcasts out there that I won't name. I guarantee you the hosts of those podcasts do not want to hang out with their fans at all.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more. I know some people that have been around certain people's fan bases, and I know certain people hate their fan bases.
Oh, yeah. Well,
because they're obnoxious.
Yeah,
and they're
like,
drunk and they're
Yes.
mean and they're bullies or whatever. And ours, I saw a girl the other night. Shout out, I forget your name. You were so sweet, and you brought your friend with you and her friend. It was at my show at Supernova in LA. She's like, I've seen you 3 times here. And so sweet. I think I've met her before, like in the parking lot there, but we took a picture, and then her friend, which is always so sweet when the person that they bring vouches for, like, I hear about you all the time. It's such a sweet thing. And she's like, you're like a household name in our house. It's so sweet. And yeah, they're always just, they're less needy.
They're
than
who
me,
we
which
wanna
is, like,
be.
really,
They are like,
they're kind of like Anya.
This
Because
chick
Anya
was
is
like,
a,
I'll
like,
let you go. I just want to say hey, but I'm
They're
letting
like
you
Anya.
go. Yeah, thank you.
Anya, I realize you're like the more mature, self-aware, not desperate, not insecure version of me.
Oh, that's so nice. Because I aspire to I always tell people like Nikki's easy breeziness around flaking and friendship is a huge asset to me.
But you're like that too.
Yeah. I like the freedom to flake.
Oh,
Freedom
man.
to
I flaked the other day.
attend or not attend.
I flaked on something, but I didn't flake. Is flaking? Flake's like when it's the day of, right?
Not necessarily.
Is a week before a flake?
A week's not a flake, unless it's a huge deal.
Right.
If I wouldn't do a wedding a
funeral?
week in advance.
No. Can you flake on a funeral?
I think whenever it's a funeral, I
Who's
don't
gonna know?
think you can flake on a funeral because you could always say that you were uncomfortable, you were too emotional. The funeral is for, to support the family. Obviously, if you're like the son, it's really weird if you don't go. But to go to a funeral is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah,
I don't think you
point.
can really flake on it.
Well, I flaked on something that was an appointment, a thing I pay for, an appointment that I pay for. And I said, I can't do it this week because I'm working too much. And there was a feedback of like, oh, this is a bummer. And it's just like, please don't say it. I already feel like it's a bummer.
Oh, that's not good. Well, you're paying them. They got to be able to deal with that.
And I think they felt like I feel bad taking your money because I'm charging you for this thing and I have to charge you. And I'm like, and they felt guilty, but I was just like, no, I'm good with that. Like I'm choosing
Can I
to
pay
do this
you not to be bummed out loud?
I know. I just don't like, who wants to disappoint anyone? But what I really took it as is like that person just like wants to hang out with me.
Oh yeah, those one-on-one professional relationships become personal so fast.
You know it well. Hip hop Darian.
Oh yeah, Darian Hip Hop Henning. You're
his dance teacher for over 2 years.
The person like my stylist. My hairstylist.
Oh my God. We got into this the other day. Brian was like, and I've been seeing this stylist, and me and my friend are like, you go to a stylist? Like, what have they done? Like, where
was that?
And he's like,
t-shirt?
yeah, they do my hair. And we're like, oh, a hairstylist. And he's been calling a hairstylist a stylist.
I still do.
And we go, Brian, stylist
I like
is...
that.
Because I don't go to a barber. A barber is a guy who is from Estonia who can trim your head with a buzzer, and that's it. He's got pictures of other men that have been on the wall since the Reagan administration, and he can do one haircut, and that's a barber. I go to a stylist
who has a vision.
Generally, it's a woman, and she is very good at cutting my hair so that it looks nice, even though I usually wear a hat.
I know you do usually wear a hat, and you do have great hair, so I would like you to
well, I wear a hat on the podcast because it's too early for me to shower first, so then I need to wear a hat.
Have you ever thought of dry shampoo?
I've never thought of it. It's never crossed my mind, and I'm still not
Men
thinking
look
about
good
it.
with greasy hair a lot of times, though.
Yeah.
Not me. I mean, one time you commented on it because I woke up with bedhead.
No, it was because it was messy. You
were
just
like,
need to
you're
brush
a
it.
filthy piece of shit, Brian.
It was just so messy. All you need to do is brush it.
I can't.
Okay, let's go to break and unpack that when we get back. All right, we're back. So one thing I wanted to get to is this past weekend when I did 9 sets, the same number of Taylor Swift concerts I've been to. Or no, it will be 9 this weekend. I'm going to Taylor Swift on Saturday in LA.
Why did I think you were up to 10? Okay.
No, I might be up to 10 by mid next week because she's doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, taking off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that. I mean, she's doing 6 shows in LA, so it's going to be wild.
Wow.
But so yeah, I did a bunch of sets last week, and one of these I got off stage, and Jeff Ross was already backstage, like at the Comedy Store, the main room. There's like it's my favorite green room of any comedy club. It's like up there with the Comedy Cellar upstairs of like comic hangouts, and it's just there's just nowhere else to really, like at the Improv. There's nowhere that comics hang, but this place it's always good. And he was there, and then. I don't know how this happened. I guess he went up first. He brought me up. I get off stage. And then when I come back off stage in the back room, there are like 2 guys with him. And Jeff introduces me and says, this is Brian. He invented Airbnb.
Oh.
And I go,
oh, wow.
What?
That's right.
And I was like, you started Airbnb? He goes, yeah, me and 2 other guys. I go, do you still own it? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, just thinking of like, I can't wait to type his name in and write net worth.
Of course.
Which, by the way, you don't even need to type in net worth because it fills in right away because that's what everyone wants to know. And
but those aren't really
if you go to his
accurate.
Wikipedia, it's the first thing that pops up.
Yeah.
But very nice guy. And I just went so Jeff was there with his buddy Avery, and I know both of them. But I just snapped into like, I'm with a billionaire.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm with a multi-billionaire. This is someone who is one of the richest people in the whole world. I gotta know things.
Sure.
So I went instantly.
What doctor do you go to?
Really? That would be your question?
I would be like, what do you go to a special doctor for rich people that has special medicine that we don't get?
Okay, I got to ask him that because I think we're friends now.
Oh my God.
He was so normal, so nice as normal as you could ever imagine. I mean, you would never think this person's a billionaire. I don't know how you're supposed to dress if you're a billionaire, but I just would imagine a
Dressed
lot
like
of
me.
yeah, probably actually.
Did he have a
Lame
fanny
cook.
pack?
And he probably had a stylist though. Yeah, he did not have
He's
a fanny
hanging out
pack.
with this stylist.
Was his hair really good?
His hair was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good looking dude and like dressed sharply. Had a white jacket on. I liked wearing white as bold, and I think he kind of had white pants on, so it was almost like a whole
Weird.
white look. But it
Boys
wasn't
to
like
men.
trying too hard at all. It really that sounds like it was, and you're rolling your eyes, but it wasn't bad. He looked cute, and
So what'd you ask him?
so at first I said, I'm like, my whole brain is shuffling. Like, I got to figure out what this guy, and he's hanging out though. So I'm like, okay, I got some time.
Yeah.
And I first I needed to ease in foreplay because I'm going to get to the dirty stuff, but I need to know. I just was like, so I go, you started Airbnb.
Great.
What year? 2007. Okay. Well, okay. And then I'm like, can you give me just the short story of how it began? I know I could Google this, and I'm sorry to ask. I'm sure you've told this a million times. And he's like, no, that's fine. And I go, wait, you know what? Tell me the name. Was the name Airbnb? Like, where did that come from? And it's kind of an interesting story. The first Airbnb was these guys were like out of college. He's a year, I think, younger or older than me. So they were like fresh out of college. He was a engineer. He was designing toys and like sports equipment or something. You know, he was just designing things, products. And he and his buddies noticed there was a convention in San Francisco in town. It was like, I think it was like a Democratic convention. That might have been later on in the story, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But there was some kind of convention in town, and they noticed like all the hotels were booked up because they were trying to maybe get their friends a hotel. And they were like, well, we have space here. Wouldn't it be funny if we just made a website and put up our
Oh my
apartment?
God.
And we'll get some air mattresses. And it'll be
Oh.
an air mattress B&B, bed and breakfast.
Wow.
So they just
Hilarious.
put one room up on, and it sold, and there were 3 people that stayed. There was the first 3 customers for Airbnb, and he told me there was like an interesting story about like who they were, and they're just like, there's 3 people out there that are like the first Airbnb people. But another thing, so that's how it started, and then he went back home for Thanksgiving to his family and was like kind of telling them about this thing that he did, and everyone was making fun of him. It's such a dumb idea. And then I think that's when the Democratic National Convention came through, and they were like, let's try it again. I think before it was a tech convention thing. And the Democrats loved it. People are like, they maybe put up like 3 more places, like their friends did it.
Sure.
And the Democrats didn't love it, but they had something going. And then the Republican National Convention came through, and they didn't like it. So they had no room. So it just kind of shows you that
Wow.
it's
The trust factor.
yeah, because if you remember back when Airbnb came out, it was insane.
Yeah.
It was.
I
mean,
have a super
I was
host right here on my
thriving.
podcast.
A former super host. I Airbnb'd for years. That's how I paid my rent when Nikki moved out. And it was hard. And I was not like providing the best shampoos. I had problems with my shower, I'm sure. But in New York City, I was almost always booked.
Yeah. And it was wild when we first heard out about it. It was kind of around the same time Uber happened.
Yes.
And we were all like, why would you ever get in a stranger's car? We all used to be so
True.
scared of strangers.
I remember my first Uber.
You do?
I remember my first Uber because I was so baffled by the fact that this existed, because I was in New York City and it's like, well, there's taxis.
Yeah.
Why would we take an Uber? I was at the, that like on the west side yard where like the tennis courts are and like
yeah.
the pool and all that sports shit. And my friend was like, let's take an Uber. And it wound up being so easy. I was like, they come just pick you up. You don't have to
so
fight.
easy.
You don't
I
have to
know.
fight anybody for it.
I mean, sometimes you do.
Yeah.
You have to fight when you get in because
It was really good. And
there's only
the rest is history. Then after that day, they said that we're going to make this a bigger thing.
You were the one.
I did. I was the one.
Well, if we can get that guy to believe in
Yes.
this, we can get anyone. That's how, like, I do remember hearing about Airbnb and just being like, gross. I don't want to stay at someone's house. I mean, it reminds me of the Jim Gaffigan joke about hotels, and he breaks down like, if you if you're trying to get a new mattress like you are, and someone was like, do you want this stranger's old mattress to sleep on? You'd go like, no, disgusting. I would never. What about pillows? We'll put on some new sheets, but just the pillows? We'll wash the sheets. You'd go disgusting, but we do that every time we go to a hotel,
yeah.
and we pay for the luxury of it. A bathrobe that someone's worn before, you go, look at this bathrobe. Someone's
so excited.
Someone's jerked off in that before, but we're just in this illusion. But
and you are your worst self in a hotel room.
Oh,
there is
disgusting.
nothing holding back in a hotel room.
I know I'm living in one right now, and it's I have to check myself.
Yeah,
it's like it's gross, and there's just towels as napkins is the classic one, and just always missing the toilet when I throw the toilet paper behind me.
Sure.
And 80% of the time I do that anyway in my life.
That was
But
another segment on Not Safe.
What?
Where we went to a hotel room and did the black light and tried to
we
check
showed
what was
everyone.
the dirtiest part of the
It
hotel
was the
room.
pillows, right?
I think the dirtiest part was the remote for the television. Because you interviewed a cleaning lady at a hotel,
I remember that
and she
segment.
said,
That changed my life.
we have never once even put a napkin on the remote on a hotel television.
Yeah, and that's when I came. Someone told me about you take the bag from the ice bucket,
Yes.
and you put it around the remote control and you tie a knot, and then
Yeah.
it can still work throughout the bag. And then if you lose it in bed, you can hear the crinkling too, so it helps
Wow.
you double.
Yeah.
But I think
And
now
I
they
only
like
recently learned the horror of. I read on Reddit or something. People use hotel
this
kettles to clean and sterilize their underwear.
you told me this, and I couldn't believe it until I Googled it, and
Oh
it's a
my
thing.
God.
Disgusting. And I
Why
have
are they
used so many
doing that at
kettles.
all?
I've never even heard of this, but it is a thing that people wash
the
and
bacteria.
sterilize their underwear by
Why?
boiling it
Disgusting.
in the tea kettle.
Why don't they just take it home and wash it in a washing machine? Who is
send it
sterilizing
animals.
their underwear?
I don't get it.
I've
I
been
don't get
drinking tea out of your disgusting underwear broth.
it. Do you know how much we eat feces every day? That's why when Kirsten dropped cookies on the
By
floor the other day,
accident.
I go, yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
some of us. It's a seasoning. But Kirsten dropped cookies on the floor the other day, and she sent us a picture of them all like splattered on the floor. And I was like, just pick them up and wipe them off, because unless you can see it, it's not going to kill you. And then I loved it because I saw, but she said they were wet. So I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they get
If they're wet, they
stuff
pick up
on
the dirt.
them, and then they're just not enjoyable. If there's like hair and pieces
Ew,
of
wet.
dirt
but
on
if
your
you
cookie,
can see it, but if you can't see anything and you examine it closely, eat the cookie. It's you.
I mean,
you
we're
have shit like that
constantly
in your-
inhaling skin dust and cells and
and
stuff and eating
feces
it.
dust all the time.
My friend doesn't kiss girls, or doesn't French kiss because he's disgusted by it.
He's right. You know what? At least he follows he follows logic. If he's not eating something off the ground, you shouldn't be
Right.
making out with a girl. That was always my argument when people would be like, God, I got sick. I have the flu. I got a cold. There was a baby on the plane that was sneezing. And I'm like, or was it you ate ass this weekend? Like,
Yeah.
why are you so grossed out by sharing a drink or like a spoon or something, but like you can't have off the floor? But Joe List had a joke in his act that I loved as someone who eats off the floor constantly. And he was like, has anyone ever died from eating something off the floor? Have you ever seen a toddler pick up a cookie and they just start bleeding from their eyes? He ate off the floor. It doesn't happen. And I know you could argue like, no, you get sick later. No, you don't. You're getting sick because you're like using too much hand soap, and I've stopped washing my hands.
What?
I barely
After I
wash
go to
my
the bathroom.
hands too.
Why?
I'm
What?
not. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
not
sorry
a
to say it. It's
good
so
plan,
disgusting.
You guys.
Why? Wait, you should wash your
worms
hands.
under your
If I
nails.
have not pooped on my hand
Yeah.
and my hand does not feel wet from a
Poop?
from wiping or like from pee,
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
care.
Okay.
Because I know that I touched the handle, and I always hit the flush with my foot if I'm in a public place.
Sure,
I'm sorry
sure.
to people who are touching that and it's touching the bottom of my foot. Wash your hands then. I'm not going to.
Yeah,
So-
I don't care what you do, but if you were cooking for me, I would want you to wash your hands.
Yeah, of course. But
But what
Anya,
universe do we live
in what universe am I cooking for you?
I never.
I wouldn't
If you were
open
like,
a
I'm
bag
gonna
and hand it out to you and
knead
say, you
these
want
coo-
some?
this
I
cookie
would say,
dough
why
with
didn't
my
you get some of your own? I'm planning on eating this whole
Well,
bag.
if you just took a piss and then you didn't wash your hands, then and then someone said hello, and then would you shake their hand, or would you feel bad?
Yes, because guess what? This is my logic, and maybe I'm wrong, and besties are gonna revolt, and now they're gonna be judgmental. This is when
You think this
but
is
I don't
the
think
thing?
they will. If you are walking around, if this door handle right here has more germs on it than or at least as many as something near my toilet, because that's the door handle's not getting cleaned. That's getting sanitized every time a maid comes in. My toilet, at least, is probably a couple times.
And there's no poo particles.
So no one would be offended if I touched the door handle and then shook your hand. So why do you care? I didn't. If I have debris on my hand, I'm gonna scrub it
germs
so
are
much. I don't want to
good.
smell like shit.
Germs make your immune system stronger. We need germs.
I have to say, I don't get sick. And so
It's true.
if this didn't work, if this made you sick, and maybe I should knock on, wait, where's wood? Knock on wood. But it makes you mentally sick, I think. Maybe there's some bacteria that eats my brain and makes me want to jump off a bridge. But I also think that, I think it's hypocritical. At least your friend is in line with his more, like, I'm not going to make out with girls because I wouldn't do all these other things. When people are hypocritical and when Chris grimaces when I like a piece of salad will like drop on the table, and I'll just pick it up and put it back on. I'm like, I want every morsel, and I'm like a food weirdo, so I just want to eat everything that I looked at what I was going to eat. It's already in my body as far as I'm concerned, so it better all end up in my body, no matter what.
I'm going to wash my hands after this podcast.
You should. I do it in front of you performatively most of the time. I did wash my hands just now.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, before we began, because I knew I was going to touch the equipment. I'm aware of that.
Sure. Well, no, I mean, whenever I'm holding a microphone or something, my hands just feel like they could use a nice wash now.
That's smart. If I touch a dog, I'm going to wash. I got to be honest. I don't want to touch your dog. I'm kind of like, I'll touch your dog on you because I've never met it before and it looks so fuzzy and cute. But most dogs make me feel soiled when I'm like touching them too
I
much.
have to wash my hands after my dog. I was conditioned to do that growing up. It was like never eat after touching a dog. And so I always have to wash my hands because they have an oil on them.
Yeah, they're
Don't you
oily.
give your dog kisses?
I make
Yes.
out with her. I kiss her cheek. I kiss her nose.
Oh,
I
but
love,
their nose doesn't have anything on it. It's
I'm
totally
sure
clean.
But I wipe her butthole every day after
Oh.
every poop. Oh yeah, I
What?
clean my dog's asshole.
Why?
What?
You don't have
No
to.
wonder she likes you.
Because she sleeps on our bed because she rubs it all over the fucking place.
Does it, if
you guys don't wipe
the
your
poop,
dog's ass?
If you don't wipe
Never.
the dog's ass, does
Check it
does
out.
poo get everywhere?
Sometimes they have a messy poop. And
Well, Marion will
Does
have
your
it caught in her
butthole-
fur, and you got to get it out and like wash it. But that's like if it's a
Yeah.
runny one.
If it's a messy
My
poop,
dog doesn't
you gotta,
have runny shit, though.
You got to change the diet.
Yes.
And then they don't
You
have
gotta put
messy
more
poops.
pumpkin.
You want a solid.
but every
Yeah.
you think every dog has a pee-pee? A
I don't
perfect
know
poop?
anybody else. I've never met anyone else who wipes their dog's ass.
Really?
I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I think that
To
maybe
anyone listening, give
this
it a
is unusual.
shot. Why not?
No, it makes sense because your dog's ass is literally on your pillow right now
Yeah.
in the background if
Yeah.
people want to see. So I don't think it's a bad idea to wipe your dog's ass if you go to see on our
if you're
YouTube.
fine with it,
It's literally his asshole is running up on your pillow.
I know.
Ah, she's
I
so
love
cute.
it.
if it doesn't bother
It's a
you to
big
wipe your
asshole,
dog's
too.
ass and it's just fine, then it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying,
Anya likes
I don't
cleaning.
think I've ever met anyone who
You know
does
that
it.
if she farts,
No.
the poop particles are still getting on the pillow. I'm sorry, Anya.
Yes, they are.
There's no
Come
avoiding the
on.
poo particles.
Now you're splitting hairs, Noah. Butthole hairs.
Yeah, exactly. The butthole hairs are parting when the poop.
I
fumes come
also
out.
wipe after every walk. I have a cold cloth and I just wipe her nose and face because there's an ant. Because she sniffs
right.
shit. And I'm like, I'm gonna be kissing that face. I gotta
That's
wipe
so
this
smart. That's what
urine and
everyone
shit off.
should do.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of germs, I have been going to mattress stores and laying down in mattresses
Yeah.
in the stores.
Right.
And my God, some of these mattresses, I went to a basement Macy's,
Oof.
and those mattresses I think have never been touched by any sort of cleaning implement for at least 6 years.
I would think the basement of a Macy's, a mattress department of a Macy's, would look as if it was a place to hide out during The Last of Us.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it
that would be
looks-
yes.
That's what it is now. Like it would just be an abandoned,
I gotta say,
overgrown.
I went to the mall in Tarzana, which is a place that I've never really been, and the mall was fucking hopping. I thought malls were dead.
I think malls are back.
Malls are back.
I've heard it. Yeah.
I went to one today and I thought it would be dead too. And there was a food court. There was like,
What were you
it
at a
looked
mall
like
for?
Vegas, Starbucks. I was on a road trip back from Canada.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You picked one at a mall and you didn't know it till you pulled up.
Oh, yeah, I was like, God damn it.
I hate when that happens.
And I
when
think
you're like,
you
oh,
and
it's in
I
a
have been at
Gelson's.
that mall because we've
We
been to so
have.
many.
We've
it was
been
the
to
time
more
that you dried
Starbucks
your
in this country
pussy
than
under
anyone.
the Dyson hair dryer. I think it was
I
that
did?
one. Remember? I took
Yeah,
a
that sounds like
picture.
something I would do. Oh yeah, God, isn't it
You were
weird
like,
that you can
"This
dry your
feels
pussy
good."
under a Dyson air dryer and not remember even a thing of it? Not even that's something that you should. It's obviously imprinted in your memory. I guess I did wash my pussy that day.
There you go.
And full circle.
That's so funny. Yeah. So it's very germy.
Oh, the Macy's basement in the mall in Tarzana. There was people's hair all over the mattress.
God.
And like I wear my hat when I'm laying down on those pillows, but there's dandruff on the pillows.
Ew.
There's hair on the mattresses. There's stains on the mattresses.
Are there sheets on the mattress or it's just a
No, it's just a
naked
straight mattress. And like you're supposed to, lay in that for like 15 minutes. And it's like, it's
15 minutes is a little long. Wait, Anya wasn't there for yesterday's podcast and she hasn't been able to listen to it yet. I just want to hear, now that the besties are all in on something that you're not in on, and this will be fun.
Okay.
How many hours do you think Brian Frangie spent at a mattress store one day before he purchased his mattress? And this is not to say he didn't spend hours prior to this trip, but in one day, the day he purchased his mattress that he now hates and he's trying to replace, how many hours did he spend at the store that day?
I want to say, did I hear this? Was it 6?
Yeah, I kind of.
Didn't you think that was a joke number?
Yes, for sure. Wait, 6 consecutive hours?
Yes, Anya.
well, except for we had a lunch break.
Oh, he went and got a smoothie because he was forced to, because the guy was like, I'm starving, man. I gotta eat something.
salesman.
Please.
Yeah, the salesman
He said, I
begged
can't leave
him.
unless you leave.
Yeah.
Were you working at the time? Like, were you on your phone? Or you were just lying there staring?
He was talking to
I
the
would
guy.
I would lay in the mattress for 15 minutes, and then I would be like, okay, I think I know how this feels. Then I would get up and I would lay in another mattress for 15 minutes, and occasionally the man would come over and say, how does that mattress
Wasn't there
feel?
ever a time you got on a mattress and go, I don't need to do the whole 15 minutes because this is clearly not it?
Sometimes I said, I need longer.
You were like speed dating.
I need 25 minutes on this one.
Really?
I was so baffled and confused. I had no idea what was going on.
This did not yield good results for him, I want to say.
Terrible results.
Because
And
he was famished. He was confused.
Yes.
He was missing
Hungry.
his family. He was hungry. He was homesick.
I felt
he
like
was
a refugee.
disoriented. He really was. And he picked the worst mattress.
I picked
he
the
could-
worst mattress.
It's being discontinued, probably.
I don't know, but I do want to just publicly complain about Tempur-Pedic for a
Yeah,
second.
let's get some besties writing to you about what they
Please.
think and what
Tell
they
me
would
what
suggest.
mattress you have.
Okay, here's what do you want in a mattress? And if a bestie can fit these requirements, write to you.
I like a mattress. I want to sleep on my back, and I'm looking for a foam mattress, a memory foam mattress that I sink into, and I stay in that position and then wake up like a vampire that has not moved an inch the entire night.
Because he's learned from his doctors that for his health, he should sleep on his back. And we don't need to get into why, because that's a whole other
Okay.
podcast, but he needs to be sleeping on his back and he wants to sink into it and mold it around his body.
And I slept in an Airbnb in Utah, and there was a foam mattress, and I slept in it, and I had a good night's sleep. And then we messaged the Airbnb owner, and there was a memory foam mattress, and they said that mattress is a $500 mattress we got from Wayfair. So
Yes,
Foam
I
B&B.
remember this.
yeah,
we
so I
talked
know
about
that a
this.
memory foam mattress is good for me. But the one that I got is hard as a rubber brick, and it makes my back feel like hell.
Help him.
But what
help
happened
him.
to waiting for Noah's 4 months?
No,
Noah
I
said
could not
wait for
possibly
months.
sleep in
He's
this
got
mattress
90
for that
days
long.
to return
I
it.
would like
I have
to
to pay a
add.
restocking fee.
I don't know who this bestie is, but we did have a comment on our YouTube page from the last episode that the first episode where you talked about this issue,
Oh no, this has been going on that long.
and the bestie
That's what I'm saying.
and the person
Yeah, we're on episode 3 of Mattress Gate.
Mattress Gate.
So the bestie said that it does take, I think, 3 months for your spine to also adjust to a new mattress. So your body also has to adjust to it. It's
Oh,
not just
boy.
the mattress
I get
adjusting to your
that,
body.
but this is beyond that. This is horrific sleep.
And
My
does
wife lays in the
anyone else
bed.
have the Lux Breeze from Tempur-Pedic? And can you confirm that sucks?
Medium hybrid Lux
Medium
Breeze.
hybrid Lux Breeze. If you
Reach
got that
out to us.
$6,000 mattress recently, after spending a fourth of a day. at a store,
Wait a
it's
second.
so
What
long.
about the obvious thing? Why don't you return it and then contact the Airbnb and offer them double for that exact mattress and have it
I can
shipped
buy
to you?
that mattress. I can buy that mattress off Wayfair, but it's a shitty mattress. It won't last. I'll get it and it'll last like 7 months. That's the
But
reason
who
they had it.
cares?
What are you doing in
Really?
your
Are you
bed?
sure 7 months?
Yeah, exactly. Why would it last 7 months?
It's
think
because
it'll
I read
last.
the reviews of the mattress and people talked about it like this
Okay.
mattress is fucking terrible. It was nice
So-
out of the box,
But
but
maybe
Brian
it's
needs
right
our
for
help.
you.
He went to Purple today.
I
which
went to
is
the
like
a purple showroom.
They use like it's almost like rubbery.
Yeah, it's like a rubber egg crate type thing.
Yes.
And I gotta say, pretty comfortable.
I like those. When I felt the material, because I used to do ad reads for them back in the day. And
Oh, yeah?
they sent me like a little sample, and I used to just play with that thing constantly and like press on it and feel
Yeah.
like, oh, how your pressure disperses. And so I'm very into
We
a
gotta
Purple
go to
mattress.
Purple.
I think we should get a sponsorship because I think if they gave me a king size mattress, I would talk about it nonstop because
Yeah.
I'm looking for a new mattress, Purple, if you're listening.
Look out.
And I really need a king size. I'm kind of using you as someone to go out and try these mattresses for.
Yeah,
me, 'cause
yeah.
I
No,
don't have
I'm
the
ready to
time.
go to more
For
mattress
6 hours.
stores.
Speaking of time being wasted, can I just say that
We're
today,
sorry for this.
Yes, first of all, apologies. We'll move on. But this is it's interesting. I mean, this is a big purchase in your life. We spend half your life sleeping. Blah 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 blah. Another thing someone spends half of their life doing, if you happen to be a fan of the show, is watching Suits. If anyone out there, Suits is the #1 show on Netflix.
What?
There was like 3.9 billion minutes watched over the weekend or something. It's some
Like, isn't it a
insane-
USA show?
Yes, but now Netflix bought it.
Wow.
And if you've been on Netflix in the past month, they are pushing Suits so hard. It's
Oh my
always
God.
in your top like suggested things. But so Chris, my boyfriend, ages ago when we were not dating, it was in between our dating, and he had he was in Abu Dhabi for an Abu Dhabi, and this is the best joke I've ever written, possibly.
What about Helsinki? Heaven floaty?
Oh yeah. Helsinki, more like heaven floaty. Okay, so
Oh my God.
Doesn't
I did
make
not
any
say
sense.
that on stage, but I said it to Anya and Chris backstage, and they were like, "Say it tonight." And I was like, "I don't think I can. I don't think I ever want to repeat that," because I just was like, more like heaven floaty, and they just slowly turned their heads to me, like, "Did you just think of that?" It was the same moment, like when I
We were so jet lagged.
I was just like kind of mumbling to myself in the corner. I was like, Helsinki. More like heaven floating, but I remember you both
Dad
being like,
joke.
"Did you just think of that?" Which is the same response that I got when I was in Kappa Kappa Gamma and I was on a double-decker bus on pledge day, on like bid day, when you find out you're in Kappa Kappa Gamma, and we loaded onto a double-decker bus, and I had no friends. I was anorexic. No one wanted to talk to me. Everyone hated me. I was a walking skeleton. Everyone was begrudgingly like even having me in their presence. And Anya sees this coming.
I don't mean to
And
laugh.
I was trying to make friends. No, it's
That is
funny.
so funny.
And I was like, I go, guys, I hope we don't go under any low bridges because then we'll get decapitated.
Oh.
Which is like not the worst. It's just like a cute little thing. I wasn't like, hey everyone, listen to how brilliant I am. I think I just said it like to I don't even know. And I remember this girl was just like, did you just think of that? And I was like, I think. I wasn't like waiting on it, but
I'm
it's
sweating.
it's heaven floaty.
She was asking you that because she never thinks of anything.
Exactly.
What was
It
your
was just-
other weird joke about Walla Walla?
Oh no, that was a Henry Phillips thing.
Okay.
There's a really fun game to play.
It's
that
not
Henry Phillips, the
fun at
community.
all.
No, you didn't understand it. That's
lost
why it wasn't
every
fun.
I think I'm
round.
going to love it.
Okay, so so the game is, and I'll talk like Henry Phillips to deliver the line. My friend and I, we were at a house party and the cops broke it up, and so we had to climb over this. Oh no, this is how you do it. My friends, you create it. Let me just tell this. You
Yeah.
tell a story,
Okay.
and in this story, you act like you can't remember the name of the city. You present the name of the city in an obtuse way.
Sure,
but
sure.
it sounds like you can't remember the name of the city.
Okay.
Then you, the person listening to my story, you offer, oh, is it this city?
Uh-huh.
And then it sounds a lot like what I'm saying. So here we go. My friend and I were in this city in Washington, and the cops at a house party, and the cops broke it up, and we had to run through our neighbor's yard and jump all over all these things. And it was in this city in Seattle.
Ronkonkoma?
No,
St. Paul?
Anya, want to take this?
We had to jump over all these.
Yeah, but you just say it, Anya.
Walla Walla?
No, fensa. And we were, so you say, I did a poor version of it, but you just pick cities and then you come up with a word that sounds like the city and make a story around that thing.
Okay.
So, what's another?
Oh, so you have to really do some prep work in your head before you start
Yes.
telling the
Yeah,
story.
so it's like, it takes a lot.
Okay. Okay, God, that's a kind of hard.
That's the only one I remember the version of, but it's a fun game to play when you're really bored and,
Okay,
driving.
okay.
Okay, you got one?
So yeah, I was trying to find a girlfriend at the time, and I was, I met up with this girl at this bar.
Mm-hmm.
It was this place. It was in Ohio somewhere.
Cleveland?
No.
Cincinnati?
No, I
Columbus?
really wanted to go out with this girl, and
Dayton?
no, Singleton.
No, okay, it's close. No,
That's good. No.
Oh, no, Singleton works because you were a
Yeah.
Singleton.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah. I wasn't
That's
Dayton.
really
I was a
good.
Singleton.
That was good.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
over
so that's
my
a
head.
fun game. So
I really
I took
just
you
thought
way
of
off
that.
track. Sorry.
no, I forget what I was even saying. We got to go to break, and I'll come back with the ending to the Airbnb guy thing. All right, we're back. So Suits. We're gonna get to Airbnb guy, but Suits is the show. And do you ever find out something about your boyfriend that you just don't, or like your significant other, where you're like, what? Really? Chris today on his radio show, I was listening to it. They were talking about Suits, and he said that he has watched all of it, which is fine. You've watched all of Suits, right? There are 9 seasons of Suits. There are 132 episodes of Suits. My boyfriend has watched all of it. And this all began because he was in Abu Dhabi for an Abu Dhabi. And he met a girl on Bumble, and they were like kind of flirting. And they were talking about like shows they liked. And she was like, I've never wanted to watch Game of Thrones. And he loves Game of Thrones. So he was like, okay, he's like really fun when he's flirting and like trying to get to know a girl. Like he's done really cute things. I think it's adorable. I love these stories. But he like challenged her. He was like, you watch Game of Thrones. I'll watch whatever show you think most people don't like, but that you love. And she was like, Suits. And he was like, okay, I think you're going to like Game of Thrones a lot more than I'll like Suits. So he started watching Suits, and he loved it.
Oh,
and
no.
he couldn't stop. And he never even met up with that girl. She definitely didn't watch Game of Thrones, but he has watched 9 seasons of Suits. And so I'm in the car driving, and I did get out my calculator as I heard this because I needed to confront him. And I did 44, because an hour-long show is 44 minutes.
Sure.
Times 132 divided by 60, so hours, and then divided by 24.
44 times 132.
Times 132 divided by 60 times, divided by 24.
Okay. I have a number. What is
And I
this
said,
number?
babe, I just wrote him out of context, 132 Suits. I go, 4 days
Yeah.
of your life has been
Dude.
spent watching Suits.
Yeah.
Listen, I get it. I've watched, 5 seasons of Succession in a short amount of time. It's not Suits.
The
No.
Bachelor. I've wasted so much time. Kardashians, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise.
Have you ever edited up like that? 4 days of my boyfriend's life has been
With,
watching
I've
Suits.
with shows
Definitely.
like
That's
that, with
nothing.
like Bachelor in Paradise,
Really?
you've got a double task. You've got to be like cooking dinner
I
while
think
you're
he's
watching
doing
that.
other things too.
How many cult documentaries robbed us of
and
our
so am I.
lives? I mean,
Um,
every cult I've watched, every, you know what really robbed me though? I just had it on the tip of my brain. It doesn't matter, but man, I've been
Kardashians are
robbed.
robbing you. You're watching all of it now. Can you
The
give
new
us like
shit is
for
good.
people? Is it good? I
It's
sent you a
great.
clip of Kris Kardashian
Kim-
or Kris
Kim and
Jenner
Kris
that made
are
me
so
laugh so
likable.
hard.
So is Chloe. Chloe is so funny.
Chris goes, I saw a clip the other day. She was like, there have been lots of headlines written about me. The other day, there was one, and the cover was Kris Jenner drinks alone, drunk and alone. And I have to say, what's wrong with that? It was just it was such a cute way. It reminded me of my mom so much. And she goes, what is wrong with that? She's adorable. Can you just, as someone who used to watch the show on E and has no interest in supporting their show on Hulu for whatever reason, because I don't know if I'm jealous. They're too pretty. They're too.
It's definitely triggering at times.
How so?
I mean, it makes you start valuing looking like that. And it's just not a normal way to look. You have to have so much surgery and so many procedures to look. They're like superhuman, alien-like. It's not a normal way of human faces.
But I guess I'm wondering, most people I talk to that watch it say they look are people just lying when they say it's crazy the way they look? I don't want to look that way. And then or is it that way? And then you start thinking it's normal.
Yes. Okay. You start thinking it's normal.
Yeah.
I like that this season, Chloe's really opening up about her surrogacy. She had a child via surrogate. She gets very into it. And I think Nikki, you've talked about this, like not enough people talk about the feelings around it, what it even means to have a surrogate. Does that mean
who is it, your egg or is it her egg? I'm always, when these bitches have kids, I know it's none of my business, but when you have a surrogacy, that's fine. Tell us if it's really yours. And I know it shouldn't matter, but isn't that kind of, I want to know just for myself of a woman that like, should I freeze my eggs? Cause is this something that is that easy to do? Or is it, and I just want to see if it's socially acceptable to not have your own egg. Cause I really don't feel like freezing my eggs. Like, will people judge me and think that I don't love my kid as much as theirs if I do a surrogacy without my own egg? Why are people not telling us?
Because you can have a baby without anything to do with you.
A surrogacy just means someone else is having your baby that you will get afterwards, but it does not imply it's your egg or not. So I want to know.
What about the man's semen?
It doesn't imply that either. I want to know all of it.
It could be just someone. Then why is that not just like adopting?
Because it's none of our fucking. It's exactly. It's just adopting. Knowing it's like prepaying for an adoption. It's a layaway.
Oh, you have the baby in layaway.
Yeah.
You're
so did she talk about like bonding with it?
Yeah, she talked about having trouble bonding with it. And I thought that was cool because that's probably not a very popular thing to say, or maybe it's a risky thing to say. Like, I'm having trouble bonding with this kid. And she's like, it's just weird. Like, you just all of a sudden one day someone hands you a child and you're supposed to be like, oh, my baby. And I thought that was cool that she admitted that she was kind of having some issues, feeling close. And I don't know. I like that.
Have you ever heard Brooke Shields talk about wanting to murder her child with a steak knife? That is
what?
That is the most amazing thing.
I wasted 4 days of my life on that documentary. When did that scene happen?
Oh,
I'm just
Brooke
kidding.
Shields
I like
fantasies of murdering her daughter and like throwing her and cracking her neck and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Through Brooke Shields, because she had postpartum and she did not bond with the baby at all. She wanted a baby more than anything. Like, as much as any girl wants a child. She finally has this baby and her husband hands it to her and she's like, I feel nothing. This is in the emergency room. And the husband's bonding with the child. And then he starts judging her and telling her, I've never seen look at all these mothers. They would go to the park. Look at all these mothers who love their kids. What is going on with you? And she's like, I just don't like it. I don't want it around me. It grosses me. It's like,
that's how I feel about my mattress.
Disinterest. Yes. It's so similar. And so she, just give it 4 months.
He's going to put it in a dumpster now.
Right. No bed bugs on the kid.
Was this in her doc?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
I think
I gotta go back to Pretty Baby.
So did she ever?
Yeah. She got treated for it because it was postpartum. So she was on medication for it.
And then she started loving her baby?
It didn't make, and she loves her child now, but at first she really did not like her kid and she felt so much guilt about it. And then she was starting to have intrusive thoughts of like murder, like homicidal thoughts that she was like, I'd never do it, but it was like crossing my mind to do it. And it freaked me out because I would just be so jealous of mothers that, in the same way that I get jealous of like things I wish I had, like she was like, I want to have that, but I don't have that feeling at all. And I don't know what to do about it. And she went on Oprah and talked about it. And this was like in the mid 2005. I don't know what we call the first parts of the 2000s. We still haven't come up with aughts are. Oh, is that the aught?
Yeah, that's the aughts.
What are the tens? The tens is what it bothers me. We don't have a word for that.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't. The 1910s is the tens. So
you barely even. We never even talk about that time.
World War I happened.
Why can't we say the 2010s?
Okay,
We can.
I like
We
that
can.
actually.
We can
Let's
and we
do it.
should, yes.
There
That
you
sounds
go.
actually pretty good. I guess we do have a word for it. Anya's just like, or can we call it the thing
Got
that we
it.
call it? But yeah, it was the aughts when like postpartum was not on the tip of people's tongue, and she went on Oprah and bravely talked about this, and then wrote a book about it. And I just thought that was so cool because, yeah, it's weird what people get shamed for. There was, Sinead O'Connor with her passing this week. I saw on Reddit, there was this post, like everyone in Reddit that is posting in celebrity things, including my own fan page. Some of it's positive, but most of it's negative. Like there's this whole thing where like if you're on Reddit and you join a celebrity's thing to like write nice things about them, unless it's Taylor Swift, you're writing horrible things. The people just hate the things that they're fans of. It's such a weird thing that happens. But in this celebrity one that I follow, I think it's like called Pop Culture Beat or something. I forget what it's called, but there was a post of Miley Cyrus, and they're always trying to call it problematic women. And he's problematic. These women are all so self-fucking righteous. They all have husbands that cheat on they've all cheated on their husbands. They call out any woman who does it. They villainize every single fucking woman. They hate they love to hate people and find a problematic thing they did once. And they're just the worst people. I don't even follow it. They just pop up. But this one popped up of like, guys, is no one going to talk about Miley Cyrus, what she posted in 2013? And it is crazy what she posted in 2013.
That's
She's
10
like,
years ago.
right. But she took a bunch of Sinead O'Connor's tweets that were like, I need help. I'm having a psychiatric breakdown. I can't get medicine. Please, someone help. Here's my email. If you have meds, I need, it's just like was her pleading for help because she was having psychosis or a bipolar episode. And Miley Cyrus screenshotted that and wrote something like, we've got another Amanda Bynes on our hand, like clearly mocking her mental illness. And so everyone's like, I can't believe Miley got away with this and that this is still up. And why would she ever say that? We don't realize that 10 years ago that she didn't get canceled for that. There wasn't even, no one cared. It was okay 10 years ago, or
yeah.
not, at least not remarkable to mock someone's mental illness, especially Amanda Bynes. I remember we were doing it on my MTV show when she was having that breakdown. I remember there was a little bit of sensitivity of like, we pulled back a little bit. Well, we were making jokes on my MTV show
What did
about
Amanda Bynes do?
she was walking through the streets, shoeless, tattooing her face.
Yeah, she like lost her mind.
She
And
was
what
having,
happened to her?
She's
She
now,
just,
I
like,
think,
checked herself
she
in
actually
again.
she just
Yeah.
checked herself in again. I mean, this is an ongoing battle. These people have like what bipolar is, if it's not treated, is a terminal illness. Like it's gonna end in like, a bad thing. So it's like, and it's so hard to treat because they have to take their meds, and if they don't, but then once they're psychotic, they don't want to take them. It's just so hard and difficult. But we didn't have that sensitivity that long ago. But then someone contextualizes the one person, thank God, came to Miley's rescue because it just seemed like Miley was just like cruel piece of shit.
Yeah.
But Sinead O'Connor had just like a couple days before written an open letter to Miley saying, after her Wrecking Ball video came out, of like, you don't need to sexualize yourself like this. You are being a sex slave to these men. I mean, it was kind of a crazy, and I'm using that term in an impolite way, but it was just someone who was unwell, trying to protect another woman who's been,
Sure.
she pimped out. She says, you're pimping yourself out. You're being pimped out. And so Miley was just like, fuck you, bitch. And she was retaliating to that. And Miley
Right.
was a child at the time.
Yes, of course.
But it is just so interesting to me that string of tweets, she still has them up. Like it wasn't on anyone's radar to go, Miley, this isn't nice mocking someone's mental illness.
Yeah.
She had a huge PR team at the time
Sure.
and no one clocked it. Imagine what we're doing now.
I think
that
back
is just
then, though, it was accepted because we had like those gossip blogs like Perez Hilton and What Would Taylor
Yes.
Durden Do? Like all those like gossipy things that love to
yeah.
make fun of celebrities in that way.
I mean, Britney Spears.
Oh.
We were.
And Paris,
That was
Nicole Richie, all of them. Lindsay
her
Lohan.
shaving her head and like looking like through the window at someone filming her doing it, her beating up that car with an umbrella. We were all front seat for it, and it was so bad. And now we're a little bit more sensitive to it. But I'm reading Sinead O'Connor's autobiography right now. If she didn't have a mental illness, it would be shocking with what she went through in her childhood. It is like, I cry about like my parents, like sometimes when I would cry, they would be like, stop crying.
Deny your feelings.
Her mom used to have her, trigger warning for horrible child abuse, used to beat her with a broomstick on her private parts and make her splay out openly naked on the kitchen floor when she was like 4, 5, 6, like, and beat her in her privates till they were black and like,
God.
and she would have to go to school the next day, and she had to lie, and she had a really kind teacher who would be like, did your mom do this? And she would just go no, and she said her teacher would just look at her like she knew, but she couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, she suffered grave abuse. Like if this person wasn't unhinged, it would be impossible. And it's so heartbreaking. Anya, I know you were a big Sinead O'Connor fan. Did you know about how horribly she was abused as a child?
I don't think I did. I think I might have read that or heard that years ago, but I have not read her autobiography.
Oh, it's
because it just
really
rang a
good.
distant bell. I was like, I think I knew that.
Oh my God. Like the way kids are abused. You just are happy reading it from, I mean, obviously I'm reading at the point where this person has likely taken their own life. I don't think it's been confirmed or anything, but it made me feel like, okay, at least she's out of that. She's like an adult now and survived it. But like, it's just her
just
mom
so
was
heartbreaking
so
that
sick.
she was like a laughing stock, and she was right the whole time. After she tore up the picture of the Pope, like that was the bravest thing to do, and everyone for years she was just like the butt of jokes, and
she lost her whole
was
career
right.
doing that.
Yeah,
She lost everything, and she said she doesn't regret it, which is really cool. But she tore up. No one even knew why she tore up the picture of the Pope. People were like, "What is she doing? Why is she not like the Pope? She hates the church, and which you cannot hate the Catholic Church."
Yeah.
But she was protesting the crimes against children in the Catholic Church. How was she
because
privy
that
to that?
Pope never disavowed those priests and never disavowed what was happening.
But did we know it was happening in 1992? Clearly, there was something in the news. But based on the movie Spotlight,
Sure.
it seems like that all broke in 2008.
I'm sure it was covered up more than it was in the 2000s.
But it must have still been out there.
Yeah.
She
I
knew
think it
about
was an
it.
issue that just got swept under the rug. But yes, I think it was an issue.
I mean, Coast to Coast AM, alien folks. You know,
It was
we were talking about
such
the
a weird
Pope
time.
being an alien and child sex trafficking of the Pope way back in the 90s, for sure. It was a
Really?
fringe belief
That he's an
that
alien?
the Pope is the Pope is controlled by Satan or reptilians.
Do you believe in aliens?
Aliens?
Mhm.
Oh, of course, but not the
Among
ones
Us?
that AOC is interrogating that Navy guy for this weekend.
What?
There was a congressional hearing about UFOs.
Oh, right.
Those are probably not aliens, but of course, in the vastness of the universe,
There has to be.
there
yes.
must be intelligent life out there. They just can't reach us, or
maybe they
exist.
have.
That I don't believe.
I don't believe that either.
I don't believe they
Among
reached us. I don't believe they either have the technology to reach us, or if they tried to reach us, we wouldn't understand how to analyze that
Do
communication.
you know the dark forest theory?
No.
No, I don't know anything called the dark forest theory.
Okay, I thought you would. You probably know.
I
this.
know what it
it's
is,
like,
but
well, you know about it. Like we should stop looking for them.
because once they find us, they'll kill us.
They'll kill us immediately.
Yeah.
It will be a split second of like, it'll just be like if they saw a gnat. Like if you see a gnat and you're just like, the second they notice us, like us with a gnat in our room, they'll just go, stop. And
Yeah.
just like, cause they
Yeah.
won't even think of like, let's explore this and see what we can learn from them. They'll just be like, ew.
If they have the technology to reach us, there is
It's over.
nothing that we can do to stop them.
Yes, because we don't have the technology to reach them.
They've
Yes.
been trying to reach
Yeah.
us forever. We are just too dense to get it. That's my theory.
But if they could reach us, that means they have technology that is so beyond our understanding of anything that they would have the ability to destroy us immediately
Yes.
and would. It
They
would
don't
be
want to destroy us. They're kind. They're not fucked up like us.
I doubt it. In order to have the amount of natural resources to control a machine that could take you to
You
a
have to
place,
be evil.
You have to be harvesting multiple solar systems worth of natural
Yes.
resources.
And
I
you
think
cannot
they're
be-
so evolved that they're like beyond our fucked upness. We're just destroying ourselves like a bunch of idiots, like fucking with the earth and like, who gives
Which is
a
what
shit?
happens when you seek power and seek to like expand your power. You need evil. And so they would probably be evil if they reached the point, I think would be the argument. But final thought, speaking of evil, Airbnb.
Good segue.
So
Because you asked him some important
speaking
questions.
of expanding evil and needing more and more. So this billionaire, I'm like, he tells me about the founding of it. And then I was like, I go, can I just cut to the chase? I was like, you are one of the wealthiest people that has ever walked the planet and will ever walk the planet, probably. Because he also told me that for every $1,500 that is spent in the world globally, one of those dollars is going to Airbnb.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I did not understand how, because he was speaking in like a way I don't understand about business, but for some reason, Airbnb is not something like, Amazon can be reproduced by other places because there's some reason that Airbnb is proprietary in the sense that other nations have to use Airbnb because they don't want to, for some reason, China can have their own Amazon and Dubai can have their own Amazon, but like Airbnb, it's the biggest American company that is globally and is not it is, you can't recreate it.
That's true. It's everywhere now, right?
And he said that was by mistake. He was like, we're just lucky that it's that way. So then that means for every $1.50 spent or like $15 spent, 1 cent is going to Airbnb, which is another way of saying that in math. 132 hours of Suits. Okay, so then
I feel like you're just bragging about your math abilities now because I didn't know that.
Really how much is it for every $150 million?
150 million?
Or how many $15 million?
Wait, $15 million?
Yeah.
So that's 50. It would be, hold on, don't do this to me. I'm really panicking and I need to write it.
Would it be 1 million?
15 million? No. It would be 10,000?
I have no idea.
Of those dollars, someone knows and someone's yelling at their phone right now.
Yeah.
So then I said, I go, what's the point of anything anymore? Like, what do you get up in the morning for? If
that's
you
a good
can
question.
have you can have anything you want. You could buy anything you want. Any nation, you have as much. He's worth. I looked it up. $11.8 billion.
Wow.
What? He himself?
He himself. He's the biggest. Yeah, but they don't have as much money as him. I looked up their names too.
Okay.
He's the most. I don't know why, but I said, what keeps you going? And he's like, because I just like innovating and I like creating new ideas. Like it was, he had a good answer for it. He was like, it's like, I like building. And I've been on his Instagram now and he's very proactive about like building community and connecting people. And he has, he's friends with Obama and I think Obama's a good guy. Like they're working towards good things, it seems. And then I said, well, what about, this is where I think I derailed it. I was like, what about the like saying that there's no accidental billionaires? What do you think that means when someone says that?
That means that they had to do something cruel and unusual in order to garner that much, or at least exploit their workers.
Thank you. That is what that means. But everyone in the room, including Jeff's friend, and no, Jeff's friend actually had my back, but he was just like looking at me like I have your back. But I go, you know how they say there's no accidental billionaires? And he's like, and everyone's like, yeah, you got to try. And I'm like, I don't think that's, he goes, I go, you seem like a nice guy. Like, are you evil? And they all go, why would you ask that? And I go, but that's what that phrase means. There's no accidental billionaires. You had to exploit, low paid workers to get to where you are. You had to like employ slave labor, essentially. I read that quote first with Rihanna about like she is making money off the backs of people working in sweatshops. Like you don't become an accidental billionaire without exploitation. But they all act baffled by it. Like that's not what it means. It just means you got to try it. I'm like, yeah, I don't think someone finds $1 billion on the sidewalk like, whoopsie, I'm an accidental billionaire. Of course it takes effort. That is implied. What I mean is, are you evil? And then it just got kind of weird in the room and I changed subjects as quickly.
Damn.
I didn't want to have to explain it. I didn't want to have to explain it, but they made me explain like what I was saying was like, are you evil? But I had to say that to him like,
well, how did you recover from this to make them out of your friends?
I think I just said like, I don't think that you are. I have a billionaire friend who I don't think is evil, but I'm wondering where that's happening in your company. Like, how did you get that? Who's losing out? Like, and we didn't get into it. I just steered it away to like, wow, it sounds like this relates a lot to comedy. And I don't know. But then we walked out together and he said to me, he was like, thanks for asking so many questions. And I was like, thanks for answering them. He was like, people don't usually ask that much. And then later on I saw
scared.
Yeah. But
this is
I
like
wasn't.
why the guy that doesn't hit on
I'm
you.
so glad you asked. Yeah, this is why you're maybe. not dating a billionaire.
No, I think he was.
You're
If
like,
anything,
are
I
you
think he
an
was
asshole?
intrigued. I think
must
if
be,
anything,
right?
it buys me something because I was not intimidated and I wasn't like. He was just. He was in. I was like, it's so cool to meet you. I mean, this is. I'm never going to meet someone richer than him. I don't think. I looked at the list. He's very low on the. Let me just say, he's like
Sure.
in the hundreds or maybe even higher than that.
Pathetic.
I know, because there's people with like $326 billion. So
Yeah.
he's with his measly 11.8. I mean, but he's on the Forbes list of richest people. And I had to scroll a lot, like I was putting in my birth date in a thing. So I had to go to the bottom to find him. But on the way out, he was just like, thanks for asking it. And he was like, and then he said this, he was like, I could never do what you do. And I go, well, I clearly never do what you do. And I was like, but it is, he was like, and I'm a public speaker but like writing jokes and making jokes, I have no concept of that. And I was like, it's cool that I do the only thing you can't do,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing you can't pay to learn. Like I hold something that
Yes.
you can never, you
Comedians
can
are
literally
cool.
have anything that you want. I mean, you can have AI write movie scripts for you, but they still can't really do comedy.
They can't write movie scripts either.
Really?
Can I ask you this? So why was he there? Was he friends with Jeff Ross?
He was friends with a friend of Jeff Ross. Jeff Ross always has the most interesting celebrity, like
Wow.
interesting, cool tastemaker friends that
Oh,
are
wow.
like hanging around. And then so I ran into Jeff Ross later on, like at my next set at the Improv. And Avery, his friend, walked in and was like, that was awesome. And I was like, wasn't that the fucking coolest? We got to talk to a multi-billionaire. And he was like, and you really didn't hold back. He was like, when you asked him, what's the point of life? I mean, that was ballsy. And I was
Yeah.
like, but what is it? And then Jeff came in and was like, he was like, you fucking Charlie Rosed him. He was like, that was amazing. And he was like, quite the interviewer. And I was like, you got to take advantage of that. He was
Sure.
like, no, it was a great conversation. And I just liked that they gave me credit for that. And I felt a little bit like almost the way that I felt when, that we were talking about before. I forget what I said. Oh, when I said that I'm in my latest 30 and everyone laughed and I'm like, why is that funny? It's nice when you get feedback about a character trait that you didn't even know you had that brought some people some joy. Because I
Sure.
would have done that in a bubble. I wasn't doing it for any other reason. I wasn't like, I'm just going to be different and maybe he's going to like me more.
You're
It was
being
just the
yourself.
way I
Yeah, you're
am.
unfiltered. But
Yeah,
you,
it was nice.
the cool thing about you is you're unfiltered, but you never seem to get in. I'm probably wrong, but you don't seem to get in trouble for your unfilteredness.
Well, because I think as long as it comes from a place of not trying to hurt people, I can kind of, if I do offend, I can back out of it. And
I feel like
use
I'm
that.
always asking things, and then 5.5 seconds later, I'm like, "Oh, you shouldn't have asked that because that's hurtful." Like I don't realize it's hurtful till later, like a second later.
Yeah, but
There's
then you
so
can
many
just go,
times
I'm
in life.
sorry. That was rude. And I wasn't thinking, but I am curious. But most of the time people do want to talk about why they lost an arm or why they're in a wheelchair or the obvious thing that everyone is avoiding. Oftentimes, if you ask it in a couth way, I mean, don't say to a person who says, what are you living for? But like,
No, but you really wanted to know, like, what is, if you're in your shoes, what gets you up in the morning? Like, if I was a billionaire, and I was you,
I'd have trouble getting up in the morning now and like
Yeah.
having a reason to take on more work when it's like, I don't really need anything else. As long as I can afford to get Starbucks 3 times a day and Postmates every night of the week, I don't really, and maybe send my nephew to college. My niece doesn't look like she's going to go. But like, as long as I'm able to get that stuff done, what else is there to life? And so maybe I was kind of seeking it in that way. But the point of life is making podcasts with your friends, and that's fun, and that's why I do this, not for the money. And so I think that's what he does it for. Like, he enjoys what he does, which is refreshing, and that's how I connected to comedy, and that's how I'm going to marry a billionaire. Okay, guys, thank you for listening to the podcast. We will be back next week, and yeah, don't be good, and just ask the questions you want to.